Happy Halloween, folks. October 31st. Happy Halloween. Indeed. Or is it? For decades, I tried to get anyone that would listen to me to stop this madness with the candy and all that. We tell our kids to not talk to strangers and not take candy from strangers and not eat sugary, full of color and toxins. And then once a year, all bets are off. They can do whatever they want. And today is that day. I hope you don't mind, but I have to do some garden work, and I'll just talk to you as I do my catch up with my garden work. I hope you can see me from that angle, although I do have to do some work over there too, probably. I'm not sure. It was pretty cold recently, and I thought, I mean, these calendulas are deadish, if not dead, but they're wet, and I don't want to take them inside because they might get moldy. There's no air movement, and if I don't take them in, cut them and take them in, like deadhead them. Tomorrow, incidentally, today being the 31st of October, right now is 19 degrees and it feels like 20. In my 40 years of living in Canada, I've never experienced a milder end of October, Halloween, than this. But I remember even in high school, they were going to the school dances. There were a couple of stormy days. I mean, not a full-on snowstorm, but snowy, blowing snow days. And here we are, plus 19, feels like 20, and then tomorrow basically the same thing. See, that's the other thing. The reason why I don't want to, I wish I could bring these in, is because we're getting more rain tonight and get more rain tomorrow. So usually I would harvest these when they're dry, when they've had some time to air dry, but there's moisture in the air, although the forest smells glorious because all the rain and the decaying leaves. These guys inside, I don't know if they're gonna make it. I still see lots of buds on them, which they're not gonna make. So there's like 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 buds just here. I haven't even counted all that and all these other ones, but sadly they're done. And after tomorrow is Friday. So from Saturday on, the temperature's back to normal. So high of +5 Celsius, which would mean that at this time of day, it's 3:30 in the afternoon, is when the soil is going to be thawed out enough for me to be able to yank these out and put them in the compost. And if I don't, the soil gets, if it gets frozen over day after day after day after day after day, I won't, the roots will be clenched, the soil will clench the roots and I won't be able to yank them out. I do have to remember to cover up the lettuce again today before I go back inside. I was hoping that if the lettuce was finished, or if at least tonight wasn't that cold because tomorrow's warm, then I could use the tarp to put over the carrots. We don't really have, that's one of the things we ran out of money, cold storage for our root vegetables. And so they're better off staying where they are now, provided we make sure that no more rain or snow goes on and in them, so in the soil. We did that a couple of years, and then the carrots are still encased in almost like ice. They're fine, you can take them out and eat them, but once they go inside, they turn to mush. But in here, as long as they're frozen, just like they're frozen like your freezer would. So today I'm gonna take down that fancy thing that we had there for protection from deer or whatever, and I guess I was hoping to be able to do this. That's it for that then. And then talk to you about Halloween. Yeah, so Halloween, the Day of the Dead. I mean, some believe that this is when the veil between the living and the dead is the thinnest, the threshold, the portal or whatever is the thinnest. I personally don't subscribe to that whole living and dying thing, partly because I suppose energy is transferred and not spent or finished or dead or whatever, and partly because, my beliefs and ideas are out there, How do we know we're not dead right now? How do we know if this is not some sort of an in-between life? This is like a holding tank, if you will. So we're not actually living. And some of you know, I've mentioned this before, I believe that although I'm not religious, I'm, in fact, if anything, anti-organized religions, do believe that there's some kind of a guy up there, programmer, if you will, AI in the sky, that has pre-programmed, predestined, pre-written, whatever, all of this. And so when you talk about living and the dead and whatever, that doesn't really resonate with me, but who knows? I just don't like the sugary candy poison, really, that we feed the kids on this day. And this year is I remember during the lockdowns and the pandemic, I used to have a column in the local newspaper about living sustainably and off the grid. And so there was a bit of a question around that time: should we ban or stop trick-or-treating? And I wrote and I said, yes, of course. What are you doing? I mean, this is an opportune time to get rid of this nonsense, because now you can say, oh, you have a reason to get rid of it. But obviously the politicians and obviously even more, all these big businesses that rely on selling all this poison to kids wouldn't have it. And so I need to go get a bucket for that lettuce. And so back it went. back on the trail. So true to form, they stuck with it, and a few years later, here we are, still continuing with the tradition of poisoning the kids, poisoning our kids. Really too bad. There's a sort of a email thing going around the neighborhood. People are trying to figure out where to start from, whose house, because I've mentioned this in my other videos. When we came here, now into our 11th year, there were only 27 of us, whereas now there's 74 people. And so we used to all get in our cars or get into one minivan with the kids and drive to even a few neighbors, elderly neighbors around, even though they were a few kilometers away. When you live in the country, in the rural, if you have to even drive 10 minutes, wow, that is still considered to be your neighbor. It's not like in the city where you step out of your front door and within a few steps you're at your neighbor's house. Rural properties are not like that. And so anyway, yeah, there's an email going around. People are trying to figure out whose house to go first. Are we doing so and so's house, and can we start at my house, or can we end at my house, and are we then? And then there's going to be some sort of a dance at the community center, which is across the road from our house. But and then there are people that, as with anything out here, I suppose, there are people that are against it, not for the reason I'm against it, like the sugar aspect of it, sugar and poison, but they're excuse me, against it because something about maybe colonialism or something happened to the natives, or I don't know. That I don't read these emails because they also didn't want to do the Thanksgiving supper, and I'm grateful that those people didn't show up. Thanksgiving for me doesn't have anything to do with colonialism or anything. It's just me saying, giving thanks for the harvest that I had, and I'm not supporting colonialism or anything like that. Just saying thank you for this harvest. But some people didn't want it, and they didn't come to the gathering at the community center, which is, like I said, fine by me. I don't get along with everyone, hardly anyone, so less people better for me. That less confrontation, less those kinds of people. So anyway, and then now there are also people that, under the guise of not wanting to give people sugary food, they're saying, we're not going to do that. Don't come to our house. I'm not saying they're being cheap, but it's more that in my mind than them not wanting to support sugary stuff, because I remember a few years ago, way back when we lived in the city, there was a thing that some people tried to give kids baked goods with very good intentions, and then some other folks who are, as always bad people, always bad people, started to do temper with, make or bake bad stuff, or poison, or whatever. It was just really sick. You've probably heard this, maybe in your neighborhood too, where you live. And so they put a stop to that. Some people sued the people that gave their kids baked goods, homemade, and so pretty quick that stopped. But we don't live here. We don't live in that sort of in a city, in that sort of a setting. So for us, if somebody bakes something to give to kids, I don't think anybody would argue, because this is an all organic neighborhood as it is. So we all have organic ingredients, and we can all bake. So anyone saying, "Oh, I don't want to support the sugary stuff," well, you don't have to. You can bake and give your baked goods, because we're not going to complain. People here aren't going to complain. So that's either laziness or cheap, or you don't want to spend the time or money doing that, and you're just hiding under the guise of, "Oh, I don't want to give them sugary stuff." Nobody has to. I think that's all I can do with that. Let me just go empty that into the compost and see what happens in the coming days with the calendula. And when that lettuce is finished tomorrow, for sure, I'll put that cover on top of this carrots bed, to keep it a bit warmer and prevent it from any rain or snow that comes on it and freezes the top solid, so I can't even dig in to be able to pull them out as I need them over the winter. That would be the first year that I would cover this. Okay, let's get rid of that. And today I might wash the car too. It's such a gorgeous day. We might be able to get one more car wash before the hose has to go away for the winter. Or else don't ever leave your hose outside, because the water in it will freeze and expand and break, like literally break your hose. That water is a pretty powerful stuff when it freezes, which is really is probably one of the only things that can expand as it freezes. Most things shrink. Shoot, I'm in the indoor compost bin, I guess we can call it, and I'm just layering the recent compost with some mulched leaves. We were in town yesterday, the day before, but I wasn't able to pick up any bagged leaves, unfortunately, because the trunk was full, and we have like a sort of a station wagon, so I don't know how people around here who just have a sedan manage with their shopping. Maybe they go to town more than once a week, I don't know. Okay, what did I miss? Where was I? Over there. Yeah, I'm enjoying these. Can you see that sun? Enjoying these come on, very last few days of, really it's just today and tomorrow where I'm able to do any gardening. I also have to go help my elderly neighbor across the road with her straw bale. I would have thought she was ready for me by now, and if not today, and if she calls me on another day, I won't be pleasant like today to go there. But life, it is what it is. It doesn't get to be pleasant all the time. Yeah, for the compost. Oh, I get it. I dropped a few here too. I gotta pick them up. Okay. Earlier today, I made a little video on ADD, ADHD, and dyslexia. All these labels that people like to come up with so that they can sell their drugs to us. Okay. Well, with that, I will say my goodbye to you, and check out the other videos on whatever else that I have there for you if you get bored. Looking over at the garden, it was a good year, good harvest, good weather, good amount of rain, good amount of heat, good amount of sun. Right now it smells glorious, I mentioned. Just taking it in. I'll be here again tomorrow for one last time. To be able to breathe this deeply and take in the sights and sounds and the smell of the forest. It wouldn't be impossible after today. It's just not as glorious. I'll be out walking, shoveling snow, going up on the trail to the ridge. All of that, but it won't be as glorious. Next time this will happen. Will probably be in the springtime. Maybe June. Oh man, it smells good. I hope you're having a similarly good day where you are. I heard in the province where we lived in before we came here, today's temperature is 27 degrees Celsius, which is insane. I mean, this is Canada after all. We're not talking California. Anyway, bye for now.